Welcome back to Cataclysm, Dark Days Ahead, Goon to Goblin. So it's time to make our character. Look, we have this world. You also notice we have sound and music now because, we set the sound up last time. So look at this. What we're going to do is we're going to make a custom character. Now this is a really interesting character. And let me tell you a little bit more about this game if you aren't familiar. This game is so hard. I mean, just a beginner enemy can whoop your ass in a one-on-one fight. If you get ambushed, you're screwed. You have to do a lot of stuff to build power to be able to engage the enemies in this game. And generally speaking, the more power you don't have at the beginning, the harder it is for you at the beginning. The game rewards you with long-term benefits. So what we're going to do, the reason this is kind of a tutorial, not just a let's play, is because I'm going to kind of show you a tutorial for how to get the craziest, most optimized long-term character. This will completely sacrifice the short term. It's going to be really hard in the short term. So look, to keep it on multi-points, or multi-pools, the first thing we'll do is we'll pick one of the hardest challenges. As you notice, we have 8 different scenarios. Or excuse me, we have a couple different scenarios that give 8 points. These are all good for different reasons. I would recommend we do fungal infection. Okay? That's going to get us 8 points right off the bat. Now, before I pick all this stuff, we know we have a fungal infection. I'll tell you what happened, why we have a fungal infection. But first I want to name our character Gary Gaiman in honor of Neil Gaiman, the guy after which this version of the game is named. So let's say Neil's grandson, who's a male, and he's 5 foot, let's say 11, let's say he's 33 years old. Okay, let me tell you about what happened to him. So, Gary was a promising young child growing up. This is the traits screen, where we're going to pick a bunch of stuff. It's kind of like in Project Zomboid, where if you get bad traits, it gives you points for good traits. So the bad traits Gary had, well, he had a fast metabolism. He always ate a lot growing up. And it was very hard to get him to wake up for school. He was a heavy sleeper. He also had a hard time lying to people. It was very hard for him to lie. It was obvious when he was lying. And then, well, this is the crazy part. When Gary was older, right before the Cataclysm happened, he was kidnapped by a government agency. Right? Isn't that weird? And they threw him into a scary van, and ever since then, Gary has been completely traumatized by cars. And he doesn't want to go in them. He won't use cars or vehicles of any kind, really. Now, Gary had a lot of good stuff going for him, too. He was tough. He had a strong back. He was quick. He was a pack mule. All sorts of good stuff. Look at this. He had fast reflexes, and he was a fast reader. Let's see, I think I'm missing one. Oh yeah, he had a light step. Cool, so that's 12 out of 12. Already I have a bunch of really good traits. This is already shaping up to be a good character with some serious weaknesses. But, when Gary was born, he had a lot of strength, a lot of dexterity, a lot of intelligence, not a lot of perception. So I got 12, 10, 10, and 6. Now, this is where it gets crazy, okay? The government agency that kidnapped him, they kidnapped him to do experiments on him. Gary seemed to have a lot of promise, and so they tried to experiment on him, but they failed and made him a failed cyborg. Look at this. After a series of surgical mistakes, your body is a wreck of bionic parts. You have a large capacity for power, but are filled with broken and useless bionics. So it's getting worse and worse for us, but it's getting us more points, too. These are all problems we're going to have to deal with. And as the government was working on him, trying to experiment with bionics, they were also experimenting with drugs. So look, Gary starts the game addicted to heroin, crack cocaine, methamphetamine, painkillers, nicotine, and caffeine. He starts the game addicted to all this stuff. And it's a shame because he had so much going for him. Before the Cataclysm, he was a marathon runner. He was into meditation and trivia. He was a competitive eater. What? You know? He could do all this stuff. He was a model. He was very stylish, good looking. He used to perform with fire and mosh in the pit. He enjoyed going fishing. He was a public speaker. He liked video games, reading. He even knew how to pick locks. There was so much going for him. And the reason there's so much going for him, I guess, is because of all the bad stuff we picked. Usually characters don't get to have all this good stuff, but usually characters don't get to have all this bad stuff either. So this is where we are, and this is our character. This is the story of Gary Gaiman, and how in Cataclysm, Dark Days Ahead, Point G, he went from a total goon to an absolute god. Okay, I'll see you guys next time, and we'll start actually playing the game.